Okay, everybody, I wanted to give you just a short update on statics. I know that there's so many emails that you get, and I have a feeling that emails tend to get ignored, and so I thought maybe recording a video would be better. Okay, so I want to talk about how we're going to finish up statics, give you some new information and some really important information, so please pay attention carefully. First off, I want to say here, hold on a second. There we go. Let's talk about the last week of classes, okay? So we're talking about Tuesday, April 21st and Thursday, April 23rd. And this applies to both the 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. sections. So on Tuesday, April 21st, we will connect on WebEx for probably first for about 30 minutes for questions and answers. Okay, so I would invite you to join me on WebEx. If you want to know the link to the WebEx is right at the top of the Canvas page for statics. Okay, and so go there. And I'll send out an email reminder about it as well. So we're going to connect on WebEx for about 30 minutes, and it's just basically for questions and answers. It gives you a chance to ask questions about anything related to the course and for me to talk with you a little bit, okay? And then at 10 a.m. for the morning section and 3 p.m. for the afternoon section, quiz number 8 will be open for about 25 minutes, okay? So it's really important. This is a quiz that's required for everybody, okay? It's a regular quiz. And this quiz will give you an idea how the final will work, okay? Now, the quiz will be using the Respondus Lockdown browser, okay, Lockdown browser. So I'm assuming that you've done this before. I'm assuming that you've had other classes that are using this. We're going to try this, okay, and I'm hoping that it goes smoothly. But yes, you will need to, if you've never downloaded the Lockdown browser, you will need to do that, okay? And make sure that you have that. In talking to a lot of students, it seems like a lot of you have done this already. If not, then please go do that. I will send out another email about it as well. But like I said, emails tend to get ignored, so this is hopefully better. All right, the quiz will be on friction, okay? So you'll know the topic. It's going to be a friction problem, okay? And it is going to be your final quiz for the semester, so you will have 8 quizzes. 7 of them are already in the gradebook, and this is your last 8th quiz. Now, that's it for Tuesday. So we're just going to do a half-hour Q&A, and then we're going to go right to the quiz, and then that's going to be it. On Thursday, April 23rd at 9:30 for the morning section and 2:30 for the afternoon section, we will connect on WebEx for a review of the final exam, okay? But I have an important announcement about the final exam, a very important announcement. So please, let's hold on for 1 second here and let's hear the important announcement about the final exam. Okay, the final exam will be optional, okay? That's a new thing that has just been announced. The final exam will be optional. Now, if you take the final exam, it still replaces the lowest exam 1 or 2. Also, if you choose to take the final exam, you cannot delete it later, okay? Once you take the exam, it counts no matter what, okay? The final exam will look a lot like the quiz that you'll have. It's just going to be more questions, okay? So the quiz that you will have on Tuesday will have 1 question, and it will be multiple choice, 4 possible answers. The final exam will likely have about 6 questions, and they will also be multiple choice, 4 possible answers, okay? And so if you are concerned about that, don't want to take the final, you do not have to, okay? The final exam is optional, okay? Now, if you are going to take the final exam, it's important that you know the times of the final exam. If you're in the 9:30 a.m. section of statics, the final exam is Thursday, April 30th, 8 to 10:30. If you're in the 2:30 p.m. section of statics, the final exam is Tuesday, April 28th, 2 to 4:30 p.m., okay? Those exams will be ready and waiting for you, but if you choose not to take them, we will calculate your grade without it, okay? So now I need to talk to you a little bit about how to calculate your grade because it seems like I always get a lot of questions on that. So let me talk about how to calculate your quiz average, okay? There are going to be 8 quizzes. Now currently you should have grades for 7, but obviously we'll have 1 more quiz on Tuesday. The lowest 2 are removed. So your average is based on your top 6 quizzes. For example, let's say you have those quiz scores as shown there, 9, 10, 4, 7, 8, 7, 0, and 10. Obviously, the scores 0 and 4 are dropped, and therefore we will weight the other 6. And if you add them up, 9, 10, 7, 8, 7, 10, you get 51, and 51 out of 60, because it's based on 6 quizzes, that's 85% in this particular example, okay? So this should be no problem for you to calculate your quiz average, okay? And you should be able to get your final quiz 8 right away, the score of it right away. If there's any problems with that, let me know, and I'll make sure that we get that to you. Okay, calculate your homework average. Now, I know the homework average is a little bit trickier, but please pay attention to this. It's not that complicated. There are 64 maximum points on mastering engineering that you could achieve in homework. And to be honest, some of you have more than 64 points because some of you have extra credit. Okay, so some of you have even more than that. But I'm going to drop 2, so I actually use 54 points as the denominator. Okay, now you should be able to see how many total points you have this semester on mastering engineering. Okay, I recently clicked the box that should allow you to see how many total points you've accrued. That's the only thing that matters, is your total points. So let me give you a couple examples. And these are 2 examples that are very similar to numbers I see right now on mastering engineering. Example 1, a student that has 62.7 total points. 62.7 divided by 54 is 116%. There's going to be a bunch of students who are going to be well over 100% in their homework average, which is going to be great. But unfortunately, we have a number of students who are like example number 2. The student has 31.6 total points. When you divide that by 54, you get 58.5%. There are far too many students who are way behind in homework and who have not done enough homework. And this is really unfortunate because homework is all online and you should be able to do it. And so I don't know what happened and why there are probably 15 to 20 students in the class that just have not done very much homework. But it's a really bad thing for your grades, okay? So you take your total homework points, divide by 54, and that's going to be your percentage on homework. But here's the thing. Listen to this carefully for those of you who are missing a lot of homework. The student in example 2 can still raise his or her score. You just have to go back and do the homework, okay? And here's the cool thing. If you go back and do the homework before the end of May 3rd, okay, 11:59 p.m. May 3rd, okay, May 3rd, at the end of the day, May 3rd is your last day, okay? You can't do this beyond May 3rd, okay? But if you do this before or on May 3rd, email me and I can take out all those late penalties. Because I know some of you are going to do the homework and you're going to get discouraged and you're going to see all these late penalties. Just email me and say, look, you know, I did more homework and please remove the late penalties. I will do that for you because I want to help you get a good grade. But you've got to go back and do it. You know, I don't know what else to do for you. Okay, you got to go back and do it. And it has to be done before the end of the day, May 3rd, because I have to turn in grades. Okay, so you have to do that before. So everybody who hasn't done homework, run back there and do the homework and get those points. And remember that it all matters is total points. Total points divided by 54 is what matters. Okay, that's what matters. Okay, that's how you calculate your homework average. Now, how do you calculate your grade? I get this question all the time, and it always makes me like frustrated because it's so clear when you look at the syllabus. Exam 1 is 20%. Exam 2 is 20%. The quiz average is 15%. The homework average is 15%. And the final exam is 30% if you choose to take it. And also remember that if the final exam average is greater than the lower of exam 1 or 2, then the final will replace exam 1 or 2. Okay, so if you have a bad exam, then the final can replace that. Okay, but only if you take it. So I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios here of how to calculate your grades. This is how to calculate your grade if you take the final exam. So let's just give some examples. Let's say the student on exam 1 got a 67, exam 2 got an 85. They've done well on their homework, they worked hard, and they got a 95 average. Their quiz average wasn't as good, it was a 70, and they decided to take the final and they got an 80, okay? So the calculation goes as follows. Normally, I would have taken the 67 times 20%, but because I have a final that's replacing exam 1, now it's going to be 80 times 0.2 plus exam 2's 85 times 0.2 plus 95 times 0.15 plus 70 times 0.15 plus 80 times 0.3, and you get an 81.75 average, which is clearly a B in my mind, okay? Now, let's say that this same student said, you know what, I'm not sure I want to do this. It's kind of a gamble. I could do poorly on the final, so I don't want to take the final. So what would happen? Well, in this case, then the 67 exam 1 would count, the 85 exam 2 would count, the homework average and the quiz average still count, but you didn't take the final. So you say, well, how do you calculate that? Well, I do the same calculation here where I have 67 times 0.2, 85 times 0.2, 95 times 0.15, 70 times 0.15, and you get 55.15. But I can't give you that grade because you didn't take the 30% final. So I have to divide it by 0.7. You have to take the same calculation and divide by 0.7 in order to get your final grade, 78.8, which is honestly probably a B too, okay? So remember that. That's how you calculate that. I mean, you students here should be smart enough to do this, okay? So you really shouldn't need to email me saying, I don't know how to calculate my final grade. You should be able to do that, okay? And so that's really important that you know that because you can give an idea of if you want to take the final or not. Now, you might say, well, what about, how do I know what the cutoffs are for grades, okay? Now here, listen to this carefully. If you get a 90 or above, it's a guaranteed A. If you get an 80 to 90, it's a guaranteed B at least. If it's a 70 or if it's in the 70s, 70 to 80, it's a C, okay? Now, will there be a little bit of wiggle room below that? Probably. Notice I said 78.8 is probably a B. Would, 68.8 probably be a C? Yeah, probably. I don't know exactly how far I'll take the line down. And if you email me and say, look, I calculated my grade to be 68.3, can I know that's a C? Sure, you can email me that, and I can give you that assurance. I know that some of you might still be considering the pass-fail option for the class. And so, that's something that, if you need to calculate your grade, you can say, look, I'm not going to take the final. I know I'm going to pass, and so I'm just going to do the pass-fail, okay? But please don't email me saying, I don't know how to calculate my grade. You should be able to do that. And now if you need an email of, okay, I need to make sure I know what this percentage is, so you calculate your grade, you say, look, I calculated it, it's this, and now I need to know what the final grade is going to be so that I could possibly do a pass-fail, or I could possibly do a, whatever, then sure, I'm happy to help with that, okay? And remember, your homework average can still go up, up, up if you continue to work on doing the homework, and everything else should be fairly easy to calculate. So, all right, so I hopefully will see you again. We're going to go back to here on Tuesday, April 21st for question and answer, 9:30 and 2:30. And don't forget about quiz number 8. That's at 10 and 3 o'clock. And that will be using the lockdown browser, Respondus lockdown browser. So please make sure you go and download it. Thank you.